YouTube, arguably the most famous video sharing site on the internet. Upon visiting that familiar homepage, users are greeted with a wealth of vlogs, short films, comedic tidbits, and of course, videos of cats doing amusing things. To be academic about the YouTube experience, the big attraction of the site hails from the indiscriminate participation and spectatorship of vernacular creativity. The site even described itself as a place to broadcast yourself. However, recently YouTube has begun to drastically change. Advertisements have snuck into and around our videos, mainstream media companies have taken over the homepage, and the broadcast yourself tagline has long since vanished. We're asking, is there still a you in YouTube? So how did this phenomenon come about? It all began in February 2005 when the site's founders registered the domain name, thus giving birth to YouTube. After many months of hard work, the site had uploaded its first video, Me at the Zoo, gained $3.5 million in funding from Sequoia Capital, and officially launched in December that year. Under a year later, in October 2006, Google bought YouTube for a whopping $1.65 billion. To put things into perspective, you could buy 4,838 Bentley Brooklyns for the same price. By 2009, YouTube was able to upload videos in HD, had signed a deal with Disney, and was introducing catch-up TV to the site. However, with all the change, had YouTube lost sight of its community? One of the most obvious and obtrusive additions to YouTube is advertising. Don't believe me? Well, take a look at these. Indeed, you, the public, have already expressed your distaste towards advertising on the site. In a recent survey I conducted, I asked 20 people from a variety of walks of life whether or not they felt that the advertisements placed before and during YouTube videos were annoying. A staggering 95% of you voted yes, they were. But is this advertising Armageddon just another way for Google to greedily farm profit from YouTube, or is it a genuinely necessary process? According to Wasko and Erickson in their paper, The Political Economy of YouTube, Google's advertising revenues have contributed 99% of the company's revenue since 2005. Despite YouTube's financial comings and goings being relatively unknown, estimates suggest that the video sharing site generated $350 million in 2009 alone. However, does this mean that Google's focus on introducing advertising to the site, something the original founders were set against, is finally allowing them to recoup the $1.65 billion hole that appeared upon purchasing the site? Once more, there is a feeling of evasiveness to Google's answer. Upon being asked whether YouTube would make a profit in 2010 by the FT Tech Hub, company CEO Eric Schmidt replied with a very vague, "I'd assume so, yes." Moreover, the YouTube FAQ page has even specifically asked the question, is YouTube profitable? Receiving the response, Google does not break down revenue across its products. YouTube does have the right business model in place, and our business is progressing well. So it would seem that the advertising push is effective at generating money for YouTube, and of course Google. Despite being something of a nuisance though, we must acknowledge that advertising is one of the lesser evils. Users are still not being charged subscription fees, are not being limited by the number of hours of footage they may upload, or even being creatively stifled, provided copyright is not infringed. All in all, advertising has not affected the integrity of the site. It's sort of like a housefly on a summer's day. It's incredibly annoying when they appear, but they aren't really doing any harm. But there are more ominous events unfolding on the site. Now we come to see why the broadcast yourself tagline has vanished, and indeed to the final part of this documentary. In recent years, YouTube has started broadcasting mainstream media productions alongside its user-generated content, a change which would seem fair if the two were advertised equally. When first entering YouTube, before logging in or signing up, viewers are met with a variety of advertisements. Combined with another big, self-referential advert, you can now catch up on the latest television straight from YouTube. However, is this turning YouTube into just another on-demand service, while simultaneously eclipsing the average YouTuber? You, yourselves, have vocalised your own thoughts and opinions on this matter during a number of interviews in which I asked you whether you felt mainstream media has a place on YouTube. Do you think it's good that we've got channels like 4OD, BBC and ITV on YouTube, and so we can watch TV shows there?
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or do you think it should just be kept as a place for like people who make short films, like amateurs?
I would have just kept it as short films, like amateurs, so they can get it on. Because they have that YouTube, don't they? Where they show everyone's, like, you know, amateur things. Isn't it just a way to get, like, popular and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't understand why there is, like, 4OD and stuff on it then, because you can just watch that on your laptop.
Well, from a maybe business perspective, it's quite cheap for them to do so and get involved with people online.
It's a bit disruptive, but I kind of enjoy the fact that Channel 4 shows and BBC shows are online.
But aren't they technically online anyway on sites like 4OD and BBC iPlayer?
But they're more accessible on YouTube, because I can just go from, say, watching Peep Show to watching EastEnders. Ugh.
But do you feel like at the moment, with especially the homepage when you first log in, it advertises catching up on TV before user content? Do you feel that's wrong?
At the end of the day, YouTube's a business, and we're going to want to make money, and the most money comes from mainstream media still.
In Burgess and Green's paper, The Entrepreneurial Vlogger, Participatory Culture Beyond the Professional-Amateur Divide, an animosity is suggested towards the mainstream media from the active participants in YouTube. Late arriving corporate partners were seen as exploiting the attention that had been produced by earlier, more authentic participants, a situation only exacerbated by YouTube's practice of proactively promoting their partnerships with mainstream media companies and celebrities who hadn't done the hard yards in the subculture, states the paper. Indeed, the arrival of big media is a concern addressed by YouTube user Paper Lilies in her vlog, RIP the Golden Age of YouTube.
You know, it's great for these companies and whoever to come onto YouTube, but they've already won, you know, they've already got the mainstream media. We're the people who started out on YouTube. We are the people who made YouTube this creative, amazing place, blah, blah, blah.
And she's not the only user who has expressed their concerns. I asked popular YouTuber ButchieKid624, famous for his niche comedy skits which parody Bigfoot footage, whether he was worried about the direction YouTube was going in. He responded, "I'm very concerned with the direction of YouTube. In the past 2 years, I've watched a lot of my achievements surpassed by over-promoted and featuring the same people and their multiple channels." Burgess and Green would describe the user reaction as a stark example of the potential misfit between corporate promotional strategies and organic participation in YouTube. Initially, YouTube was about what you put in. It truly was a place to broadcast yourself, to participate in a community derived from all walks of life. Now the amateur participant competes directly with big business. The media presents David and Goliath. But again, it would seem that this change, which some see as compromise and others as purely selling out, is necessary. Financially, introducing corporate partners keeps YouTube available and free, whilst helping reduce the issue of copyright by legally giving access to a lot of material. To conclude, it's obvious that YouTube has changed drastically since being taken over by Google. Financially, it is much safer and therefore much more likely to remain free and available. However, YouTube is sacrificing its focus on user-generated content, and that is an unavoidable issue. Will this continue to be the case? And if so, will YouTube eventually evolve into a place where only hand-picked partners are allowed to upload content? The whole selling point of YouTube is that it allows you to upload your own videos, and despite adding numerous corporate partners and monetizing the site, this hasn't changed. It is a shame that users are feeling neglected by the obvious focus on corporate partners, but it isn't kicking you out of the bed just yet. Is there still a you in YouTube? The answer is yes, at least for now. But the future is very much dependent on how successfully Google can find the balance between making a profit from the site and promoting the users whose participation has made YouTube what it is today.